No, no news. Everybody's fine so far.
And obviously, we know Granit is long term and is out running, but is there any kind of update on him? Do you think he might be available for Christmas?
Hopefully he will be a little bit sooner than expected. He's training and pushing himself and all the staff so hard like he always does. And he's in a good place. He's evolving well, and hopefully we can have him a little bit early. We have to see still a bit early to decide that.
Okay, but maybe before the end of the year?
I hope so, yes.
So this week on the training ground, have you seen a real determination to, after your great run, bounce back?
Not only there, I really like the reaction that we had already in the dressing room at Anfield after the game, and how some players took leadership and describe what happened in a really honest way, and look forward. This is not something that in a season is never going to be like this. There are always bumps in the road, there are results, there are injuries, there are issues that you have to deal with, and I really like how the team has reacted through the week.
So in the dressing room afterwards, some of the players actually said things to you.
And this is something that before it didn't happen, and I'm really pleased that is happening at the moment.
Could you say who and
No,
what?
never what happens in the dressing room.
But clearly it was something that you were, as you said.
Yes, and we have to put that on Saturday in front of our people, and after a defeat you need to win and get into that game with that mentality. And the preparation is important, but what is more important at the end is perform well, play as good as we can, and then we'll be closer to win the match.
Because it's important, if you can, to take whatever positives you can from a defeat like that.
Absolutely. It's a lot of things you can learn. You see the standards that you have to raise to compete with those teams in this league, and how consistent they do it for every game, but as well how consistently they do it throughout the game. And they dominate every area, and that's why they've been so successful.
Newcastle at the Emirates have a similar record to what Arsenal had at Anfield. They've lost their last 9.
Let's keep going, but this is a new game. Obviously, there are some changes happening there. You can see the momentum that it's building. It's different. You see the last game that they played as well. You see some different things. New manager, new coaching staff. So let's be prepared.
Eddie Howe, do you think he is the man who can save Newcastle?
That's what I decided. I admire Eddie for what he's done in the league. His style of play, I know the coaching staff well as well, so I'm sure they will be fully prepared.
Now, he's not going to be here. It's obviously a situation you know well. Having to stay home or in a hotel with COVID. How difficult is that to organise a team and organise things when you're not actually at the training ground? You know that.
Well, we have the technology now to try to do as much as we can, but I imagine that he found it really hard as well. The moment that you just joined, for that to happen, I think it's been very unlikely, but I'm sure they'll find a way.
Did he ring you for advice?
No, he didn't.
I'm going to mention JW, Jack Wilshere again. I may sick talking about him, but Bradley Ibrahim says that him and Benjamin White are the 2 best players on the training ground. Is there any chance at all in this crazy world of football that he might be some kind of short-term cover for you?
No, but I think it's a great compliment for Jack that the players that are playing alongside him think that way of him. To be fair, he's doing really well. He's doing better and better, and we know the qualities that Jack has.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Premier Productions. It's very interesting. You mentioned you're a player that's learning a lot of things over the week. And obviously, a lot of things happened over the weekend. You on the touchline with the club, that flashpoint. I'm sure you don't think that's going to happen again, but how prepared are you? Because things happen in matches like that. How prepared are you to deal with such situations going forward?
With the situation I have with Jurgen,
Yes,
I think you have to be spontaneous and do what you do, and I will always defend my club, my team, and the players on the pitch.
And also going forward, you take on Newcastle. When you joined Arsenal a few years ago, your first game was against Bournemouth, and Eddie Howe was the manager, and Arsenal had just picked up a win in 10 matches. It's the reverse. It's 10 wins and 1 loss, for you. And you're taking a Newcastle team that's on the up. How
We're really looking forward to the game. After a defeat, as I said, you want to put it straight away in a different context. We are in a good run. We play at home. We're going to have our people right behind us, and we're going to perform well. First of all, play as well as we can, and then we'll be close to win the match.
Looking forward to seeing Joe Willock again for that game.
Yeah, I think it would be really nice to have him. We all love and like Joe. Obviously, it was a difficult decision to make to let him go, but I think he's shown, and that's why he needs as well to play the minutes that he's finding there and find a new challenge.
Have you spoken to him at all?
Yes, yeah. Not this week, but I have done it before, and he knows the reception he's going to get. Thank you.
Ian from TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. The clash last week with Jurgen Klopp on the touchline, do you think that's good for your players to see the fact you're so passionate, you're almost prepared to get into a fight with him, or do you think it was possibly not great for your players to see?
I don't know, it's who I am. If I feel like this, I will react, and if I feel I have to defend my players, I will do it.
You don't come across as that sort of fiery person in a press conference. You're quite calm normally.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't give me enough motives to go another way. But yes, it's part of our character.
You've got Kieran Tierney available again. How important are wing backs in football? We're seeing over at Chelsea and last week, obviously at Liverpool with Alexander-Arnold, that wing backs now are becoming a really important part of certain teams. What about your team?
Well, I think the fact that you have players in your backline that can become a real threat, that they can make good decisions, that can contribute with key moments in the game in your attacking phase is obviously really important, and we have a few of them, and it's another weapon.
Newcastle haven't won yet this season. Are they really that poor in your opinion?
For what I've seen of them, no, and for what I've seen of them in the last few games as well, there were crucial moments in games where the game could have gone in a completely different way. We know the attacking threat that they have the players that they can hurt you in the last 30 meters of the pitch, and we're going to have to be really conscious of that and play as well as we can.
And again, back to your players, Gabriel has been brilliant for club and country this year. And I get the feeling alongside Ben White and with Aaron Ramsdale behind, that could be a central three, which Arsenal could be relying on for a great few years to come. Is that correct?
Well, obviously their age, how they complement their qualities, and as well the chemistry that they are building, it is really important, and it's rare to see it that early. But they are enjoying playing together, and this is something really important, and we have to keep evolving, but not only with them, with every player that is involved in those positions.
You've also got, this is the start of a really busy period. We've got games next midweek, we've got games in a row up to Christmas. How much now, in the next month or so, is about you also managing your squad?
Absolutely. The minutes and the performance level of the individuals, and then the impact that you can have of the bench the moment you want to change the team, the alternatives that you need, because normally in this period injuries start to come, suspensions, we already have a few players very close to that. So everybody has to be ready, because it's going to be key, the contribution that they can make to sustain the level and results.
Finally, for me, it's about 18 months ago now that we're all talking about the European Super League, and I noticed that last night the fan-led report from Tracy Crouch, the former sports minister, came out. I'm not expected to comment completely about it, but do you think there needs to be more governance outside of football clubs into clubs in the Premier League, and money needs to be redressed down the pyramid?
There is some movement there, and probably in the next few years there are going to be some changes. I think it's a bit early to talk about that. We have to read through it properly, see what we want as a club, which size we're going to position ourselves in. But there is a movement, and as everything, I think football will evolve in one direction. Hopefully it's the right one.
Morning, Mikel.
Hi.
Just related to that fan-led review, Newcastle are obviously under new ownership now, and it was widely reported at the time that Arsenal were one of the clubs that were most opposed to that takeover. Can you tell us why that was?
I cannot say much. I think we have the regulators that have to decide who can own a football club or not. They've gone through the system, and now Newcastle have new owners, and I think they have fulfilled all the criteria needed, and that's it. That's what the regulators should do.
Do you have a personal view on the sort of ethical side of it, though?
I think we are guided by the regulators, and whatever we think is better or not is not very relevant.
I want to ask you one about Lacazette. I know you've spoken about you want to address his contract situation at the end of the season, but can you really afford to do that when you've got the possibility that from January he can talk to overseas clubs directly?
And that's a position and situation that are happening more and more in football. It's not the only one. We have a few. And that's something that we have to be dealing with contracts that they were coming from a few years ago with certain particularities. And we knew that was the case. I already spoke with them individually about how we have to handle those situations the best possible way. And that's it.
So are you not concerned then that you could, because obviously you could sign a pre-contract in January in the meantime?
It's the situation that we have. Whether you are concerned or not, things have happened in the last few seasons for different players where those possibilities are there, and sometimes club has more control and sometimes players have some more controls. But the important thing is that communication is clear and the intentions of both parties while they are together are very clear.
What are those intentions?
That the demands don't change, whether you have 6 months or 6-year contracts. You're still employed at the club. If you are here, it's because you are willing to be here and you have to perform at them. And there is nothing different to expect from anybody.
Just finally from me, during the international break, you spoke about how good it would be to have Arsene Wenger more involved with the club again. I just wondered, has there actually been a formal offer to him?
Well, it's been a communication. I saw him and I talked to him when we went to see the film, and it was incredibly pleasant to see him and chat to him, and hopefully we can bring him close, because I think he would have a great time just seeing the environment that he can create around him when he's around this place, because of the respect, admiration and the love that everybody at the club has for what he's done, and as well for what he represents as a person in this club.
But what would that look like, though? Would that be sort of as an ambassador for the club, or what kind of capacity?
I cannot tell you now, but what I can say is that I would like him to be much closer personally to me, because I think it will be a great help. I think it will be a great help for the club, and things take time, and I think he has to dictate those timings. And what I can say is that from my side, and I can take, I think on behalf of everybody, that we will be delighted to have him much closer.